gradual change in hearing is taken for granted today. When you ask the hearing impaired why they continue to needlessly suffer, they are often startled. Most explain their hearing loss in a one-dimensional way, with reasons such as people don't talk plainly anymore, or I don't always concentrate on what others say, so my wife thinks I have a hearing loss. If you don't hear well, you won't concentrate well either.
My hearing's everything. You know, I'm a musician and singer, so I got to hear. You can only sing and play as good as you can hear, especially in a noisy situation like a restaurant or something like that. It adds because you can hear, you know, you can hear a conversation that I didn't hear before, and it's just easier. I say what a lot less.
Well, I've always played drums. I've played drums. I've worn loud headphones, and so I've had tinnitus, which is the ringing in the ears. I've had that for a number of years. I knew that, and I found myself more and more just becoming a little bit withdrawn. Found myself in situations where I would just smile and nod a lot because I didn't quite hear what they were saying, and you just sort of, you can fake it. You're in a party, you're in a social gathering, and people are talking, and somebody says something, and you just go, and just, walk off because you didn't hear what they had to say.
Well, everybody around the house and home, when we were talking, they would talk about something, and I changed the whole subject because I couldn't hear them. I couldn't hear a word they're saying, and they understood I couldn't hear. But, and it seemed like everybody was talking soft all the time. Why is everybody talking so soft? I couldn't hear them.
First set, they didn't know. They couldn't see because they were small, very small ones. And they said, "You got a hearing aid?" I said, "Yeah," And I could, at that time, my hearing wasn't that bad. But it was enough that I needed hearing aids, for sure. You can attest to that from my wife. She was very serious about me getting them, and so I got them. And my friends said they couldn't tell. The idea of not being seen, the fear of saying, I'm less than because I can't hear, or I'm ignorant because I can't hear, or, numbers of, I found that out by some people's attitudes. And I'm feeling better because I can hear. I can hear a lot better, and that makes me feel better. And sometimes I'm not recognized as having hearing aids right now, so.
If you're feeling the psychological impact brought on by hearing loss, consider having your hearing tested at Glassman's Hearing Service. It's painless, informative, and free. At Glassman's, we pride ourselves in caring for the hearing impaired, showing them that by wearing a hearing aid, their life can be restored to a normal and healthier quality, and that they are not alone in the negative emotions felt from hearing loss.
Hi, I'm Angie. I'm here for my hearing test.
The first thing we do when a client comes in is to have them fill out a medical case history of their general health and their hearing health. This initial assessment will help us focus on your hearing health. As you might be surprised to find out, your general health can give us clues to your hearing health. The next thing we do is talk with you.
I believe one of my first concerns is to help you understand that hearing loss comes with aging, and to relieve any fears that you might have about wearing a hearing aid. In many cases, we can custom make a small hearing aid that hides in the ear or hair and cannot be seen by others. Similar to glasses which help you see clearly, hearing aids enlarge and make speech clear again. Without the aid, one can feel very lost in conversations and left out. Speech can sound as though the speaker has his hand over his mouth, sounding muffled, distant, and distorted.
One of the first tests we perform is an otoscopy. We use an ear light. This is simply a very small camera with a light, and we put it in the aperture or the threshold of the ear canal and view all the way down the external ear canal to the tympanic membrane or eardrum. In this case, it appears to be a very healthy tympanic membrane. The next test, tympanometry, is for middle ear dysfunction. For this test, I'm going to put this little foam probe up to the threshold to the ear, making sure we have a tight seal, and then measure the tympanic membrane that the compliance is normal. It quickly measures the stapedius muscle, which is to say the acoustic reflex. Simply put, we're measuring middle ear sound wave transmission, and if it's functioning properly. Again, in our case, this appears to be normal. Now we continue on with the hearing test. This is the test that everyone thinks of when you're going to have your hearing checked. Again, we're looking for any red flags that would require immediate medical attention. For this test, we put sponge ear inserts into your ear. It doesn't hurt. In fact, it might tickle a little bit. And then we do the same for the other ear. We squeeze the sponge so that it inserts easily. We're ready to go.
So just press down on the button when you hear a tone, even if you barely hear a tone, okay?
Okay.
Now what I'd like to do is have you repeat some words after me. Will you repeat the word chess?
Chess.
Say the word smart.
Smart.
Repeat the word spin.
Spin.
Say the word pint.
Pint.
What we do next is put headphones on just one ear. We introduce some static noise. It's narrowband noise, and it sounds like you are in between radio stations. We ask that you do not respond to the static, just respond to the tone you hear in the right ear. The patient will then push down on the button whenever they hear the tone, even when they barely hear it. In addition, we'll put a little vibrator called a bone oscillator behind your ear, and again we're testing for middle ear function, that sound is transmitting through the middle ear normally.
Even if you barely hear a tone, please press down on the button.
Okay.
The next step in the testing process is to insert a calibrated microphone into the ear canal. We then connect this to your lapel and have you turn slightly so we are even with the speaker. And then we run an unaided test on your hearing, which we did in the sound room. We then test again to verify the initial test. Then we put the hearing aid on and adjust it until it gives you optimal performance. So this is your unaided threshold on the screen, and now we're going to put a hearing aid in the ear. With the probe mic still in the ear, we insert the hearing aid into the ear. We want to verify that this is the right hearing aid for her type and amount of hearing loss. This is the aided test. For the real ear measurement test, we may need a little more volume to get your optimal hearing sensitivity. It should be very clear. Now there is a match between the target that the real ear measurement stated and what our patient is hearing.
And what amazed me was when I took the hearing test, because I knew I'd had a hearing loss. What I didn't know was how I was misunderstanding words. And that's what surprised me about it. When I did the test, what surprised me about it was how I thought he said coat, and he said coast.
All of a sudden, I could hear, I thought he was right behind me, and he's clear on the back side of the room. And that really was amazing right there, to realize that my hearing was that bad, because you heard these little beeps, tones, and sounds during the hearing test, and then you go over here, and now you can all of a sudden hear.
Well, it was just like opening up a whole new, you stepped into a new place, you know. Oh, I can hear everything. It was very nice.
The actual hearing aid comes in many styles and technologies, and we make custom sizes, ones that fit down inside the ear, but it requires an ear impression. This is accomplished with a sponge on a string, an auto block in the ear about halfway into the ear canal, which is approximately 3/4 of an inch into the canal. Then we begin filling up the ear. With that impression, the lab will custom design your hearing aid by trimming, blueprinting, and laser shaping the acrylic as it hardens to a custom replica of your ear. While the shell is curing, a second technician hardwires the appropriate circuitry for your specific hearing needs. This particular model fits inside the ear. All the testing that was done said this person was a candidate for this particular style and type of hearing aid. New Bluetooth technology for hearing aids is available and can connect to any device that is compatible with Bluetooth.
These, the way they fit, once Mark determines on the size of the earpiece you need and fits you with the correct size, once you get used to them, you don't even know you're wearing them. Sometimes I forget. I've had times I've almost gotten in the shower with them on because I've forgotten.
I didn't tell some close friends I was getting the hearing aids just to see what the reaction was going to be. And literally, some of them noticed them like 2-3 weeks into it. Some of them never, when I mentioned, hey, you notice anything different? And I point out the hearing aids, they said, wow, they were not genuinely surprised, not being polite, they were genuinely surprised that I was wearing hearing aids because they didn't see them. And and Mark helped, help me in that direction.
Here are your hearing aids. Okay, red for right.
In the final fitting of the hearing aid, we show her how to put it in and how to wear it and keep it clean.
So if you want to try putting that in.
We want to make sure it is a good fit. We then run another verification test before the patient leaves us for the loud world outside.
When I got back to work, when I first got them, there were people that were unaware that I had them. And a couple people were surprised that I could hear what they were saying. And I think some were surprised that I heard what they said, too. So that was an interesting thing.
Oh, golly, I'll tell you, Mark can talk to you, and he makes you feel good, just the way he talks to you and how he adjusts the hearing aids while they're on you, and you feel just fine. You'll just feel fine.
Another responsibility for hearing health professionals is troubleshooting, assessments, and adjustments. A patient may come in because the hearing aid doesn't sound as clear as it had been sounding. So we run an electroacoustical readout of the hearing aid. In this test, we put the hearing aid in this box, and the test will run a curve of the response, the amount of distortion, the power level, the output and gain to make sure the hearing aid is working properly. And if that checks out, then we'll go ahead and test the patient's hearing, because there's a possibility there might be a change in her hearing that would require us to adjust or change the hearing aid. Adjustments that we make with hearing aids, in this case, a little bit of a larger ventilation opening, can be reached through simple dialogue and a little testing with the patient. In this case, the patient said she is feeling a little bit occluded or stuffed up. In this situation, a common solution is to open this vent up just a little bit, and that should make the difference. It should help her to not feel so stuffed up. Another potential problem could be leakage. This is when the custom-made hearing aid isn't perfect. The shell will sometimes fit perfect, and sometimes it will not. We build up the outer edge with a little bit of acrylic. You won't be able to see it, and with the use of an ultraviolet light heat gun, it will cure in a matter of seconds. These are a few of the many responsibilities of licensed and practicing hearing aid dispensers and audiologists.
Now, if you think that you or a loved one may have a hearing loss that interferes with the enjoyment of everyday life, please write down this number and call Glassman's Hearing Service. We have been in business for over 30 years, and our main focus is your hearing health.
Well, the only thing I would say, anybody that needs any type of hearing assistance, he's the person to see. Because I went to different companies, different manufacturers and so forth and so on, but none of them competed with him.
Mark's a great guy. Mark, he sits down, he works with you, he explains everything, he goes over all the options, he tests you, he works with you, he eases your fears and your concerns, and he answers all of your questions. I mean, Mark was a great guy to work with because he just really knew, he knows what he's doing, and it's always nice when you're working with a pro. He knows what he's doing, and he was there genuinely concerned with my hearing and genuinely concerned that I get the best service and the best hearing aids available.
Well, I think that he is very interested in taking care of his customers in a way that meets their needs.
And he'll give me options and choices of what I want, what I can get within my own. There's financial worries about, I can't afford this, or it's going to be too much, or will it be enough so I can hear? Will it satisfy my needs? And that from the world of not being able to hear certain things to now is a lot different. I'm glad because of that.
He has changed my life. I love my hearing aids so much. I couldn't do without them. And they're just great. And like I said, the service there is wonderful.
It was real easy to recommend Glassman's because they took good care of me. The hearing aids came in on time. I lost one time. The service was quick, efficient, got it right back. That worked out real good. I've had a couple other things where I've called them up and they've had me come in, check them out, and, oh, here it is. And everything's just been fine.
So it's been a good experience all the way around, and I have recommended him to other people. One coworker has been to him and been fitted with the same hearing aid and is real happy with it. So.